Alright, good morning. I don't even know what day it is. Don't even know how long it's been. What's going on? This is what's going on. I got a 327 here that's cracked. That's going back. 350. Rebuilt that for a guy. That's going back to him. That's a junk Model A motor. I got to rip it apart. 350, I came out of a car, I just did an engine swap on. It's got a knock to it, so I'll rip that apart, see if that's repairable. Model A engine, another flathead. Model T, I don't know if I told you about my Model T, but I bought a Model T. It's sitting right there. Let's see, ooh, we got the belly tank in the shop. Must be that time of year again. Yeah. So, long story short, I actually thought the motor was junk in this thing last fall, because it came to a screeching halt and it didn't want to move after that. And I got a special little nut and bolt down there so I can turn the engine over, because you really can't get to it. And it was tight. So, you know, I wasn't going to get too worried about it in early November, so I put it back together and stuffed it back in storage with the antifreeze in it and forgot about it. Now we're about 2 weeks away from the race, and it's like, I should probably see what the heck's going on here. And I had a sneaky suspicion it was the starter, and sure enough, starter jammed itself in there. Once I unjammed the starter, she fired back up. So I guess we're racing. I got a leaky water pump, and I want to flush the radiator out. So a little bit of maintenance-y stuff, do an oil change, adjust the brakes, you know, get it ready. And then over here we got Model A. I don't know if that was here last time or not. Probably was. I gotta get going on that. I need to get that done. But yeah, it's just been busy, like usual. It's always something. And yeah, that's all I got. Pretty boring. I know. Boring. But I know people want to know about this stupid thing. So, I'm going to start pulling it apart. And I'll bring it back when I get the sheet metal off so we can actually see something. I got that top piece off here so you can actually see the radiator. But I get the front off and get the back off, and then we'll go over a couple things. And I got a million questions over the last couple of years, and I've never answered them. I'm a horrible person about that. So we're going to get back at it, and stay tuned. Alright, so now I got ripped apart. You can kind of see what we got going on here. So we have a Model A front axle, Model A front spring with reversed eye, bunch of leaves taken out, re-arched. Just a cute little shock, but really doesn't do much. We got a 1940 Ford steering box that I remodified to make that fit, and homemade linkage and all that. Clutch and master, not much room for feet pedals and room for gas pedal, but it's in there, it's tight. And then we get to the cut down Model A steering wheel. Shifter, I believe it's like a Mr. Gasket 3-speed shifter that I completely modified. Those two bars then go back to a Z bar back here, and that works the shifters, or the first leg of it. And it comes to two more rods that follow along the side of the frame here and actuate the shifters on the side shift of the transmission. Hydraulic clutch. That's really how I shifted it. I know someone was just asking, actually I had like a dozen people ask me about how do I get this thing to shift. It's not that hard, actually. It's pretty simple. It took me a while to figure it out, but the hardest one is the first reverse rod, and you really can't see it in there. Kinda. So that's this one here. So that one has to go around the bell housing. So that's why it's Z'd out and Z'd and comes back over here. There's this, you can't see it. The old adage of 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag, that's this car. There is so much stuff jammed in here. The second third rod is straight, because I figured that's the one you're going to be power shifting. So I made sure that was rigid and straight right back to the shifter. And it works. Actually, it works really well. The only thing is it reverses your shift pattern when I did this, which, whatever, you can figure that out. First time I usually forget, but at the second or third time I usually remember. The engine is a very tired 46 Ford 239. It's got a Iscadarian cam in it that we really don't know much about. Offenhauser heads that are pretty crunchy. Fenton intake, dual. Other than that, the engine's bone stock tired. It really should be rebuilt. Maybe next year, we'll see. Transmission, I believe, was out of 47-ish. I think the rear axle, same thing, 47. Frame is homemade. It's supposed to be made out of a Model T frame, but at the time I couldn't find any, so I found metal that was like a Model T frame. But a lot of this is just, like I always say, stuff laying around. Make it from nothing. So, not a lot of money into it. A lot of fun though. But yeah, I got the water pumps out, or I gotta get the water pumps out. They're ordered. That one's been leaking pretty much this whole time, and now it's really getting bad. So, gotta put a water pump in it. We'll do them both. You gotta flush out that radiator. Engine doesn't look too crudded up. I'm kind of surprised about that. Other than just maintenance-y crap, got the oil draining, check the fluids in the rear end of the transmission. But everything in here just barely fits the sheet metal. I mean, this just clears, oops, over here. This just clears it all. You think, oh, why don't you put a bigger fuel tank in? Or why don't you put a bigger that in? Can't, it won't fit. The bell housing's actually hitting the bottom of the tank, so the engine can't go any lower. It can't go any further back because it's going to hit the tank. So where that sits is where it's got to sit. The tank itself was a F8 Bearcat. And it's too short for what I needed, so I actually had a lengthen it. I think it was 18 inches, right in the middle here. But it's only 24 inches wide, so you don't have a lot of room. Obviously the P51s and those drop tanks are bigger. Those are the ones that everybody uses. But it works. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, that's the belly tank in a nutshell. Hours and hours and hours and hours of just staring at it, trying to figure out how to make this all work. On a budget was what I had laying around. So that's it. So maybe the next video will be me racing it. Doubt it. But we'll try. And yeah. Later, guys.